This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome. I am Doreen Durham.
And I am Anastasia Theodoridou. Our guests today are Dr. Robert Terry, Director of Student Support Services, and Dr. Anna Graham, Coordinator of the Tutoring Center.
Welcome, Dr. Terry and Dr. Anna Graham.
Thank you.
Dr. Terry, could you tell us a little bit about your educational background?
Educational background. Well, I started at Hendrix College and went from there for a year to Union Theological Seminary in New York City. Decided I wasn't going into the ministry, so I transferred to the University of Arkansas for a master's, the University of Arizona for my doctorate, and did a little postgraduate work at Brown University and Appalachian State University.
Dr. Graham, how about your educational background?
Well, I like to include that I started with graduating from high school at the former Carver High School at Stevens. From there, I went to Philander Smith College in Little Rock. It's a private school supported by the United Methodist Church. And from there, 7 years after I had started teaching, I went to Henderson State University, where I received my master's degree.
Dr. Terry, could you tell us some of the difficulties you faced while you were a student?
Oh, I didn't have a lot of difficulties. I studied from can to can't. They had to run me out of the library a few nights, and once I got locked in the library. But no real difficulties through my yes, while I was working on my doctorate. Had one incident where on my doctoral exams, I had been spending the last several days studying for a particular exam. When I got into the exam itself, I discovered that I'd been studying for the Renaissance, and they were going to test me over the neoclassical age in that particular period. I thought I was dead. I thought it was gone down the tubes. But what happened was I relaxed, and everything came flooding back in, and it turned out that I did better on the neoclassical exam than I did on the others that I knew I was preparing for at the time.
Dr. Graham, when you were a college student, did you face any major difficulties?
My major difficulty would have, especially now, finance would have been my major difficulty, because it's difficult for young people to realize now that when I graduated from high school in 1958 and went to Philander Smith, well, we did not have the grants and aids and the various scholarships that are available now. So I simply had to work to do my financial part of my education.
Dr. Terry, do you think that students are more privileged now? They have more help and to get through college?
Well, we certainly give them a lot of help after they get here. That's exactly what the Division of General Studies is all about. That's exactly what Dr. Graham is involved in all the time. Certainly there's more of it available, and somehow it seems that more of it's needed for some reason.
Well, Dr. Graham, since you said that students now don't have any major financial problems, you think they're privileged?
Well, some still have. It depends on their circumstances or maybe family background as to whether or not they have some difficulty in being able to be eligible, like the work study and the regular. But the way I look at it, especially the way my education was financed, I think that the students now really have a grand opportunity. Sometimes I have the feeling that they really don't appreciate how easy it is for them to work and finance their education.
Dr. Terry, do you feel that the quality of the students has improved? Or do you think that they're just required to cover so many more things now that we are in such technology?
I wish I could say that I thought the quality of students had improved. I'm not at all convinced it has. If anything, I fear that it has tapered off, gone downhill. They've got a lot more technology that can help them with it, but when it comes down to the bottom line, they've got to do it themselves. They've got to work at it.
Do you agree that the students have improved, or do you think they're getting spoiled because the system is getting easier for them?
I believe that anytime something is easy, that you can get spoiled that way, or you take things for granted. And certainly I feel like that's the case with many of our students. They take it for granted, and sometimes they do not put forth their best efforts.
Dr. Graham, you have been teaching freshman seminar now for 2 years.
Right.
In this class, when you teach it, what is the main ideas that you're trying to get across to the freshmen?
How to become a successful student. And I always emphasize that they take too long to realize what their goals are. Also, we want to emphasize success along with we want to keep these students at Southern Arkansas University so that they will become graduates of the university. We do not want them to transfer someplace else. So we try to project how they can become successful here at Southern Arkansas University, therefore becoming graduates of this university.
Dr. Terry, you taught 16th and 17th century literature. What did you do exactly to instill the interest in literature to students?
To instill interest?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I try to convey the interest that I have. The last time I taught an 18th century class, I was so excited about it. The first day I started talking and said, now I want you to read this. And then after a little bit, and I want you to read this. When I got through, I discovered I told them that I wanted them to read about 200 pages for the next class period. And there were only 7 people in the class, and when I realized what I had done, I thought, oh, none of them will be back. But all 7 of them were back, and all 7 of them had read the entire assignment, and it took us about 2 weeks to get through the 200 pages, 2 weeks of class. But that was a marvelous class, and they knew from the beginning how excited I was to be teaching it.
Dr. Terry, you are currently Director of Student Support Services. Could you give us a general overview of Student Support Services?
Okay, Student Support Services is funded through the U.S. Department of Education. It is directed at 3 different classifications of students. Those who are first-generation college students, that means that neither parent had a college education, or if they lived with one parent, then that person had not. Low income is the second criterion, and the third is disability of some sort. And we can serve any of these people in various ways. We can give them academic advising, we can give them coursework to help them with their college degree, and this is where really our freshman seminar started, was in Student Support Services. We have tutoring, and I'll just let Dr. Graham tell you anything she wants to about that. And we've got supplemental instruction. Supplemental instruction we began 6 or 8 years ago. And the difference between tutoring and supplemental instruction is that with supplemental instruction, the tutor, if you want to call the person that, we say the SI leader, sits in the class every day. It's somebody who's already taken the class, he's done well in the class, he has had that professor for the class, knows all the idiosyncrasies and so forth, knows what the professor's liable to do. Then he sits through the class and then holds review sessions after the class is over, prepares them for the next class, and goes over what they've just covered. And we have fantastic data on SI. It seems that those who avail themselves of SI sections after the class are just about 1 letter grade on the average ahead of those who didn't avail themselves of this opportunity. And furthermore, they're almost twice as likely to complete the semester satisfactorily, that is with a C or better. Wish we had Velma here too.
Yes, I think she's had her turn.
Yes. Dr. Graham, you're the coordinator of the Tutoring Center.
Yes.
Can you tell us where it is located and what happens when a student comes in for
Right.
help?
We are presently located in McGill Library, downstairs 101. We have a walk-in situation. Our daytime tutoring starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and goes through 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Thursday. On Fridays, 9 until 12. At night, the nighttime tutoring is from 6 to 9. During the day, we use the students for tutoring. They are recommended from the faculty in that department. They should be juniors and have at least a 3.0 in the area that they're tutoring. In the nighttime tutoring, we use professionals from the high schools in the county as the nighttime tutors in their particular subject area. We have a walk-in situation which is quite interesting. You do not need to make any appointments. I try to hire tutors and have them available in each subject area at all times during the hours that we are open. We keep a record every day of the students who come in for tutoring. So therefore, if an instructor requests data on whether or not their students are attending, we have it on a card file, which is easy accessible. Each tutor is responsible for keeping those files up daily as to their tutor, and then we provide other information as to how long they stay in each area. I think it's very beneficial that we have the Tutoring Center. Just today, after I made a presentation in a class, a student came to me afterwards to thank me and to tell the English tutors that she was grateful that she had received a score twice of 34. We know that 35 is passing for EPT and EFT. After coming over for tutoring in English, she scored a 48 on her last test. And many of the students, she said, came to her and asked her, how did she go from 34 to 48? And her answer was that she attended the Tutoring Center and got help, and how helpful it had been. Those are the kind of rewards that we're looking for, and that's the way we want to help our students.
Dr. Terry, of the group of students that utilize these services, the SI and the tutoring, are most of them, would you say, in your experience of knowing which students have utilized them, are most of them students that are trying to raise a C to a B or a B to an A, or are they really students that are down in the D and F and really need this?
Oh, I think Dr. Graham could do a better job with that than I, but I'll give you my impression.
Okay.
Is that often the person who goes to Dr. Graham's Tutoring Center is the one who's got an A and trying to hold it, or who is in the B range and wants to move up. I think that they are more likely to spend a lot of time there than the ones at the lower end. I think the ones at the lower end are the ones who come in all in a frenzy and they say, quick, tell me everything I need to know about differential calculus. I have an exam in 20 minutes.
Dr. Durham, do you feel that the Tutoring Center helps the students sufficiently?
I really do. I wish that we could get more of our students to come to the Tutoring Center. We have students who fail in subjects like algebra, and we have excellent algebra tutors. Once they attend the Tutoring Center, there's not much problem in getting them to come back. It's the initial visit. We try to address that in freshman seminar because each student in freshman seminar is required to come to the Tutoring Center 3 times. the early visit should be right after the semester start, and they will get a chance to see how helpful it is to come to the Tutoring Center. I think Dr. Terry is exactly right in his opinion about the center and about the students who come. Now, the non-traditional students, we don't have much problem in getting them there. Once they find out that there is help available, they will attend the Tutoring Center. We have some students, unfortunately, that think that to go to the Tutoring Center is to indicate that they are very low in their grades and probably in their ability to pass classes. And many times they stay away because of that. More of them come because they need to pass the English proficiency test and the English fundamentals test, because it's required that you pass the test in order to pass the course. We still have too many students who do not come for help, and therefore they must repeat that class.
Dr. Graham, do you have any idea of the total amount of students, which is roughly 2,580 or so students at SAU, how many of them, the percentage of them that use your tutoring service?
I would guess probably about middle of the road, and when I say that, probably about half of our students. And the reason why I say that is because we do a report which for the semester will be given a copy to Dr. Terry and Dr. Donna Allen, the Vice President of Student Affairs. Many of our students commute, and if they are commuting from Texarkana, El Dorado, they come in just for class, and they feel like they don't have time to come to the Tutoring Center, and that would cut down on the percentage. As I say, the non-traditional students, even if they commute, they will still take out the time once they find that we have the services available. We're trying to up that percentage, and we do that by, I think, one of the best ways that we can handle that is that I am available to go to each freshman seminar class by invitation of the instructor to explain our services. And once they understand, then they are more likely to come over.
Dr. Terry, could you talk a little bit about the success you had in writing grants and how important these grants are for student support services?
Well, I got into grant writing just almost by accident. We had formed the Division of General Studies, and I had become the first head of that division. And there was overlap with what Student Sports Services was doing. And about that time, the Director of Student Sports Services got an offer from TCU and went to direct their Student Sports Services program. And they said, "You're it. And the grant needs to be written within 1 month." And I just sat down in Dr. Hafner's office. He was gone on a ski trip or something. And as fast as I could write the stuff out, his secretary, R.V. Askew, would type it up. And we were awarded the grant. And since then, I've written the SS Student Sports Services grant every 3 years. Now they've moved it to every 4 years. I wrote a $50,000 grant that brought the English department its computer room, and one for $116,000 that brought compressed video to campus. And right now I'm in the middle of one that may get a building renovated on campus. Letting me do that is sort of like handing a kid a hand grenade. You never can tell exactly what's going to happen, but I'm enjoying it.
Dr. Graham, could you tell us a little bit about what you were doing before you came to SAU?
Yes, I think that to me is one of the most interesting part of my life thus far. I taught at Waldo High School for 30 years in the Waldo School District, I should say. My first 7 years was at the West Side School, which was an all-black school. And then after 7 years, we integrated, and I went across town to the Waldo High School, still as a vocational business teacher. The 30 years total was quite rewarding. And I still have a close connection with that community and that school district after spending 30 years there. Many interesting events over the total of those years. I worked for 6 different principals and 3 superintendents. If I still have some more time, I was watching for the cue. Sometimes I go too long, especially when I start talking about those 30 years. I think one of the most rewarding parts of that part of my career is that now here in Magnolia, in each business where I enter, or all of the banks in town, insurance agencies, whatever we have, when I enter the door, there's always someone to call out hello by name, and that would be one of my former students. I'm very proud of those students and their accomplishments also, and I'm always happy to see them.
Dr. Terry, I understand that you're an actor at heart. You did My Fair Lady in 1986 for Southern Arkansas University. Was the character of Henry Higgins a very demanding role for you? And did you have a favorite role among
Oh, I love
the
that
ones you
Henry
performed?
Higgins role. I really loved it. But when I tried out, I wasn't trying out for the Henry Higgins role. I was so shy that I wouldn't have actually gotten onto the stage. I would never have tried out. Quit laughing at that. I would never have tried out if it hadn't been that in that musical there is a character named Alfred Doolittle. And I loved that part. I really wanted to be Alfred Doolittle, and I tried out for that. But they'd get us up on the stage and have us going through the different roles, and they'd try us in this combination, that combination. They kept putting me into the Henry role. And I didn't think anything about it. They were just trying us out in different combinations, and when they finally announced who had gotten what, they had me as Henry Higgins, and I almost said no, because that wasn't what I wanted to do. I really wanted to be, but they had Ed Cardis as the Alfred Doolittle character, and he did a great job, and I had a lot of fun with Henry. It's a big, thick book, but I enjoyed it.
Dr. Graham, you've been active in missionary work. Are you still active in the work?
Very much so. Presently, I serve as president of the Women's Missionary Society in the 12th Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Before that, I served on the connectional level, that's like calling it the national level of the church, for 8 years in the missionary department. It's very educational to serve in our church because we do a lot of traveling and we work with several different groups. We also have districts that are located outside of the United States, and I also get to travel to those districts. Our origin is in Africa, and that's why we are named the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Currently, I have always maintained membership at what I call my home church at Stevens, Arkansas. I will probably always remain a member of that church because that is where I received my initial learning. We travel within the United States and its boundaries. We go everywhere because wherever there's a need for special mission and someone to care, that's where we go. Presently, I serve under, we call under because we are an Episcopal church, and currently my bishop is the Right Reverend Frederick Hilborn Talbot, and my supervisor is Dr. Sylvia Ross Talbot.
Dr. Terry, you practically traveled throughout the whole world. Could you tell us some of your unforgettable experiences? I hope you had some.
Oh, we had marvelous experiences everywhere we went. We took off 3.5 months for a trip around the world, and Hawaii, Japan, Hong Kong, Thailand, India, Israel, then Europe, and each was a thrilling experience in and of itself. We were using, in Europe, we were using Europe on $5 a Day, the Arthur Fromer, I believe is his name, book. And although the places that he recommended had enough traffic coming into them that because of his book, that the prices had gone up. But it would get us into the neighborhoods where we could maybe for the equivalent of $5 get bed and breakfast for 2 people and things like this. We really had a shoestring budget, but 3.5 months around the world, just a grand trip. Since then, been to Australia, New Zealand, Tahiti, and of course, over the years, many times to Canada, many times to Mexico.
Dr. Terry, could you talk a little bit about the Village Methodist Church and that you've been pastor since 1978, I think?
I started out way long time ago as a seminary student. Decided I wasn't going to be a minister, but after we moved to Magnolia, I still did some part-time preaching, filling in here and there where a preacher was sick or whatever. And the district superintendent of the Methodist Church in this district asked me if I could take over Emerson Church down south of town. It would be only 2 Sundays a month, and I was pretty scared about that. And it would only be until June when Methodist Annual Conference is held and they switch us all around. Well, June came and June went, and I was still there. And then in December, the district superintendent came to me again, and he said, we've got a difficult situation here. We'd like you to take Village and Ebenezer Methodist churches and let another person have that church just until annual conference next June. Well, annual conference came, annual conference went, and I was still there. And this coming January, I will have been at Village and Ebenezer for 20 years. So it has been far better for me than it has been for them, because it's done a lot more for my faith to be worshiping with those people every Sunday than it has been for them. Yeah.
Dr. Graham, you were given the name Sunshine because of your enthusiasm in the missionary work. What are some of the basic messages you're trying to get across?
Is that in every human being, there is some good. And that if you can go about your work with joy, is that you become successful in that work. Not only that, but when you can experience a lot of joy in the work and others see that, they relate to it. Also, because of that same kind of enthusiasm, I was awarded the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Need I say that I'm very proud of my church. It's of the same doctrine as Dr. Terry. That's why we understand the church so well together. It's because we have the same basic type of doctrine.
We want to thank Dr. Robert Terry and Dr. Anna Graham. I am Doreen Durham.
And I'm Anastasia Theodoridou. Thanks for watching.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.